And we are back with episode 11 of the Wrasslin Roundtable podcast, where we're talking about all things pro wrestling as we're coming off of the up and down WrestleMania 41. There were some great ups, but there were also a lot of downs. And I'm not going to name the downs, but Travis Scott, you know who you are. I'm Ryan Hall. I got Dominique Larue, as always, with me. And brother, even though it's no longer WrestleMania season, we got a lot to talk about here.
We do indeed.
Yeah,
We got a lot setting up for Backlash and a lot setting up for probably the road to SummerSlam.
absolutely. The first two nights SummerSlam, by the way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But I wanted to kick things off with one of the most insane matches I have seen. I think one of the most insane matches anybody has ever seen on regular WWE programming. And that was that just bonkers TLC match that we saw on Friday Night SmackDown between the Motor City Machine Guns, um, and the Street Profits um,
Was
and
it pretty deadly?
DIY.
DIY, yes, 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 yes.
And first of all, they gave them a lot of time. It was commercial free. They managed to swing that. Um, Of course, Street Profits came out on top. They retained the titles, but that match was insane. Was absolutely insane to me. First of all, what are your thoughts on it? I've got a few specific things that I wanted to talk about, but what are your thoughts on it overall?
Uh, well, you know, whenever it comes to a TLC match, it's sometimes 50-50. It can either be great or it could be horribly wrong. Luckily, the match was like it it donned itself one of the greatest non-WrestleMania matches to be put on regular TV programming for WWE because the stuff they were doing, it gave you old attitude era vibes
Yep.
with just the carnage that was going on in that match.
It was criminal that match wasn't on WrestleMania.
It
It was
was yes.
criminal that match wasn't on WrestleMania.
If anybody want to be pissed off at Triple H about anything, I like obviously we're gonna be pissed off about the ending of WrestleMania night too. But I am more upset that that match wasn't featured on night one and night two because we've had some matches on WrestleMania previously, um, last weekend, Easter weekend that they should have just cut out, like the El Americano versus Rick's
Ray Phoenix, El
Ray
Grande
Phoenix. Yeah,
Americano,
that could have been cut out.
that could have been cut
Um,
out. I feel like New Day and Viking Raiders could have been cut.
yeah, you did say that. Um,
Um,
to be honest, I hate to do AJ Styles like this. I love AJ Styles to death. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, that could have been featured on SmackDown or Raw. I mean, it's really not something anybody was
don't
like,
disagree.
oh
Do
man, I
not
can't wait for this
disagree.
match.
Yeah, you're not buying it. You're not buying a ticket out in Las Vegas to see Logan Paul and AJ Styles.
No, no, no. Especially how it ended. No, if it was just straight
Yeah,
up a slobber knocker, both of them going, which it was. I mean, like the match was good.
yeah.
It was kind of give or
Thanks to
take.
AJ.
Yeah, thanks to AJ. But then here we go again with his buddy coming in and trying to give the brass knucks, and then you supposed to have this titanium hand, and I don't understand. If your hand is titanium, why are you getting brass knucks to win the match? You're already cheating as it is with the titanium hand. So I don't understand the logic in that, but you know, I guess I'm
Well,
not
it's
supposed to
like Chad
understand.
Gable. I mean, it's like Chad Gable. I'm sorry. El Grande Americano,
Yeah.
putting that metal plate inside of his mask to do that headbutt.
Yeah, that makes absolute no sense at all either. And I really
Yeah.
wish they would just get to the point, rip the mask off, it's Chad Gable. Now, if they pull the wool over our eyes and it's not Chad Gable, that'd be astonishing. But I mean, like Big E said, Big E know his body, pause. He knows Chad Gable from head to toe, and he knows that's Chad Gable. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, you know, I don't think Ricky Saints is getting that Olympic rings tattooed on his back like Chad Gable did.
yeah, no, no.
But getting back to that TLC match, you're right. Those matches can either absolutely crush or they can kind of go over like a wet fart. And we can think of both. Obviously, the gold standard of TLC matches is the Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian.
Yes.
And I think this match from Friday Night SmackDown can be spoken in that same breath because so often matches like that can turn into what we call spot fests with no like real psychology and no like real kind of storytelling. It's all that kind of like holy crap moment. But there were plenty of those in this match. Let's not get that twisted.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna talk about Angelo Dawkins and spearing Tommaso Ciampa off that from off that belt. But there was psychology, there was great storytelling. I feel like even the commentary went so much to the drama of that match. I mean, Joe Tessitore kind of just to kind of go down a rabbit hole here. Joe Tessitore, I've been a big fan of his, because coming from college football world. Um, and I thought he was going to kill when he came to WWE. And I think he was a little slow to get started, but as the kids say, he was in his bag on Friday night. He and Wade Barrett went so much to the drama and the storytelling of that match.
Yeah, they did. I I want to give my flowers to Joe Tessitore because, like you said, when he first came in, he was kind of, I guess he was trying to feel his way with it. Probably he
And,
wasn't
and, and, I,
too
and I'm sure he'd
familiar.
admit the same. Yeah, I'm sure he'd
Yeah, yeah,
admit the
yeah,
same.
yeah. And I think working with Wade, it kind of helped him. Like they really bounce off each other, and the way he just, the way he described things, it felt like kind of like old school JR. Like he described everything the way it was going, and he was kind of building it up, and he had some ad libs. Oh, and just like excitement that was going on, and the spots in that match were insane. I mean, it was insane because like you got to remember that this is on SmackDown. This is not a PLE. This is not like some built it wasn't really built up to be something like that. It was just like, hey, we're gonna throw a TLC match in there, it'll build itself. But if you're
Yeah.
not familiar with the rivalry that was going on with it, you would have been like, I mean, this is just it's just a whole bunch of chaos going on. But like the way they was describing the match and just like overall watching the story build up to this, it was definitely the what we call old school the end all be all. Like, every match we see, or excuse me, every rivalry we see, it builds up to this like grand finale, right? So
Mhm.
I felt like watching that TLC match, it was the grand finale between those three teams.
I can see that. I can definitely see that because there was a, it was definitely kind of a blow off, kind of a finale, kind of beat with a lot of that story because what more can you do between those three teams? But at the same time, you've got two teams in DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns who were not, they might have lost the match, but their stories, their trajectories, their arcs were not hurt in the least.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's a tough needle to thread as a wrestling booker, because yeah, there's going to have to be a winner, there's going to have to be losers. But do the losers get buried? Do they get sent down to the mid card? Do they get sent to NXT or whatever? Or do they still, or can they still be seen as credible contenders to win back that championship? And I think that was the kind of the masterstroke to me of that, because like the way that match was laid out, and I saw today where Jamie Noble and Kenny Dykstra from the Spirit Squad were the backstage producers on that match.
Huh.
I didn't even know Kenny was still with WWE, by the way. Um, but the way that that match was laid out, um, and the way that it was worked, obviously, I just feel like it was masterful. That was, it was just such killer psychology. It was just such killer, like the chemistry was off the charts
Yeah.
between the
Yeah.
three teams.
I think I remember a documentary about like, gimmick matches like that. They're hard to produce because no, first and foremost, you gotta have a lot of trust in one another to land some of these spots and do some of these
You
spots
don't
together.
say, yeah.
And I still remember to this day, it was like when they first introduced, I believe, the either Elimination Chamber or the Hell in the Cell match where Triple H was talking about like you got all six guys, six superstars, right? And I think it was Elimination Chamber though, but like this is a match where if you're not familiar with this match, which is the Elimination Chamber, it was the first ever, you don't really have a clear cut idea of what could possibly go wrong.
Right.
So, and then, like you said, the pacing of it, the philosophy of it. So, you got to do things within that spot that makes sense, that helps the match progress and kind of keep fans involved in the match. So, like, we already knew DIY and Street Profits had a lot of chemistry together from NXT and everything. But, like, with Motor City Machine Guns, they're kind of like the eye guys coming in from, another promotion and like adding them into the mix. You really didn't know what to expect from them for as far as that match, because all we saw with them is just regular old tag team matches. So kudos to all three men for figuring it out and yeah, I mean, doing a great job. I mean, they obviously we won't get the last of them later in the future.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna bring a tag team in like Motor City Machine Guns with those two guys, with Shelly and Sabin, two guys who've been tag teaming for God 20 years probably.
Yeah.
Know each other like the back of their hand. I mean, yes, we know this is predetermined, but you got to have that kind of chemistry to be able to dance with each other like this.
Yeah.
Get back to your point about trust. There was that spear that Angelo Dawkins did on Ciampa. Now, yes, it was reminiscent of that first TLC match. Let's not get that twisted. However, you just to kind of think about this, you've got a big dude in Dawkins. I mean, Dawkins is like what, 6'5"? I mean, he's a big dude.
He's solid.
And you've got Ciampa is hanging from that belt, 15, 20 feet in the air. and you've got one chance to do this. You've got one chance to do it safely. And if it's not safe, and if it doesn't look good, not only is the match kind of ruined in front of a stadium full of people, but national TV, I mean, you've got one chance to get that right.
Dawkins
And the
is six
fact that they
five.
got it as right as they did just blew me away.
Dawkins is 6'5", 260, by the way.
6'5", yeah. I mean, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Um, he has become way more than just the Stevie Ray of that tag team, by the way.
Oh man, can we talk about the development between them two guys? Like at
Oh,
one point
please.
we was like, hey yeah, my Tesla did like I've always said like he needs to get more single run, but we was always like maybe they need to break up. But like Antonio Dawkins is really like Angelo Dawkins is really became like he's really picked it up. Like that, and then plus after that match, it only has gotten better for him as far as this stock.
I mean, I've been talking up Montez Ford for years. I mean,
Oh yeah,
the guy is like the second coming of Eddie Guerrero if Eddie Guerrero was 6'4". I
yeah,
mean, that the kind of the way that he just hopped up that ladder in that one spot. That was straight out of Eddie Guerrero's playbook. I'm sorry.
he is athletic is I'll get out like
He's
he's
athletic as
ultra athletic, and the way
yeah.
he just be diving from like the ring post, like over the ring post onto people, is if this man don't get some type of mid card title, I don't know. We need a rap basically. If you don't get a mid card title, if you don't get a U.S. title, the Intercontinental title, shit. I mean, to be honest, at this point, North American title, some type of title,
Hmm.
the continent on it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, no, that match was insane. I was on the edge of my seat that whole time. I mean, it was the mere fact that we got that on SmackDown. That was when it comes to SmackDown, that was probably the closest to that legendary Brock Lesnar Kurt Angle Iron Man match in terms of just like edge of your
Oh
seat
yes.
kind of holy crap, what are we watching kind of thing, but on network or cable TV and
Yeah.
not on a big paper.
Yeah. They definitely heard the rumblings of people like, why y'all didn't get a I mean, like, why y'all didn't get a WrestleMania match? And they was like, oh, we're gonna show y'all. Like, this is why they should have put us on WrestleMania. So,
Yeah, say
but
less. Say less. We'll do
yeah,
this.
say
Yeah.
less. Say less. And I thought for sure that DIY was going to win after Johnny Wrestling super kicked Montez Ford. I was like, oh man, he finna take the belts. And speaking of Montez Ford, we can't forget that this man paid homage to the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, with his wrestling gear.
Yes. Yeah, no, that man definitely needs a at least like
Push.
like an NIC title, US title, something before this year is
Calling it.
out.
Yeah, I am. I'm calling it right now. If he's not my pick for King of the Ring, he's definitely my dark horse for King of the Ring. Calling it
Ooh, oof.
right
I
now.
like it. I like it. Yeah, maybe I can see him, I don't think he wins Money in the Bank, but I
Yeah,
think
no.
he can come damn close to it.
Which I can't wait till we get on that subject like later on down the line because I got
Yeah,
a few
no,
picks.
We got a little bit of time on that, my friend. We got a little bit of time on that. Let's not go down that rabbit hole yet.
Yeah. No. We gotta stay on course. Gotta stay on course.
Yeah, no. Well, that TLC match was just chef's freaking kiss. I mean, it was just so good. Um, Now one of the I think fascinating follow-ups from WrestleMania, especially being the main event of night one, is what are we doing with Seth Rollins? What are we doing with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman? Now, a big piece of that puzzle got dropped into place when Braun Breaker, of all people, joined that faction. Now, Braun Breaker. Now, I've got a couple of theories behind what they're doing with this. Braun Breaker, first of all, that man is about to get a rocket strapped to him. He's got a great look. He's great in the ring. He's not like S tier promo material, but he can hold his own. He's got it all. And I really believe that if they are turning this almost into a evolution meets dangerous alliance kind of thing, because of course with the Paul Heyman callback there, you've got Seth Rollins in the main eventer role, let's say, the Triple H in evolution role, almost like the Ric Flair in the Four Horsemen role. You've got Braun Breaker in like the Batista role in evolution, or just the kind of the muscle of the whole thing, like the killer of the whole thing. And if they're going with kind of the evolution kind of angle here, I've got a name I want to throw out for the third guy. You're gonna laugh, but I'm dead serious about this, because where he is right now is nothing. But I really feel like he could do big things. Austin Theory. Because Austin Theory, I feel like if they package him right, you've got young Randy Orton. Because that boy can go in the ring. He's charismatic as hell. He can cut a great promo, and he is floundering in that ridiculous tag team with Grayson Waller. Your thoughts, my friend?
I agree with you 100%. IWC also agrees with you because I've seen a lot of posts of potentially that being one. I did, if I'm not mistaken, I did recently come across another person, which is a curveball,
Okay.
to go along with the future of that alliance, or what they like to call what's best for business. Um, uh, as you was discussing it just then, his name just recently popped in my head. Carmelo Hayes. Now stay with me on it.
I,
He was the
I,
first. He was the
I
first pick.
that wasn't a look of what are you talking about? It's a look
Yeah,
of
yeah, 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 yeah,
get
yeah,
the hell out of it. Yeah.
yeah. Because he was the first pick. SmackDown for their roster in the draft. He fought Cody Rhodes, and they had a hell of a match, right? Right
Mhm.
now, obviously, he's working with the Miz or whatever. He just recently won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, so it's either one of those two, and like I think they're more towards Austin Theory, perhaps. But when I was sitting here thinking about it, you know, Austin Theory was once deemed a Vince McMahon guy, right? And you know
Mhm.
how Triple H. I mean, I don't know if Triple H feels this way, but you know he can ride for his guys, right? And I mean, Carmelo Hayes is one of like not necessarily Triple H was over NXT with those particular guys, but at the same time, Shawn Michaels is working with him, and I get the main event kind of feel from Carmelo Hayes because he has backstory with Braun Breaker. They put on some great matches in NXT for the NXT title. And
That they
I
did.
just like everything about his promos that comes out of his mouth. I feel as though it's like, I'm him. Like, obviously you want me in this alliance with y'all because I'm that guy. I'm the future of WWE, as y'all, says what's best for business. So
Yeah, I dig it. I absolutely dig it because this whatever they're doing with this, I think it needs to be an avenue, kind of a platform for guys to just get launched to the moon. Seth Rollins is already there.
yeah, he has no problem. And I give this to Seth. Like I give it to him. Like
Yeah, yeah.
he whenever he works with anybody, he sets them up to be great. Like, working with Buddy Murphy, you know, helping him drag him along with him and during the COVID era that he was helping him. And like uh as much gripe we have with the project with Seth Rollins versus The Fiend, I mean, I gotta give him kudos. He played along with that. He was the only one that really worked with Bray Wyatt with the Fiend because I mean, people were like, why he don't fight Roman, and it just didn't fit right with Roman's character to do that. But Seth was all for it. So,
Indeed. Indeed. I mean,
but
God bless him. He was over the hill when he was in WWE. Forgive me for saying this, but he made Sting look like $1 million.
yeah,
And Sting,
yeah,
keep in mind, Sting is on my Mount Rushmore now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was over the hill when he was in WWE. Let's not get that, let's not ignore that fact.
I mean, the
Seth
man
Rollins
followed almost.
and made him look good. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But yeah, no, you don't have anything to worry about with Seth Rollins. But I feel like, and Paul Heyman can elevate anybody just by opening his mouth. Stick a microphone in front of his face and open his mouth. Um, but depending on how many more they're going to put into this faction, that can be an avenue to really elevate guys to just the stratosphere. Because just to be associated with a first ballot Hall of Famer in Seth Rollins, with a guy who's already in the Hall of Fame in Paul Heyman, just to be in that same kind of breath and to be like on the same TV screen frame with those guys could be huge. So they've got to get this right.
And I think Austin Theory definitely deserve that spot. I mean, you can't beat John Cena at WrestleMania and not do anything with that. And he has the look, he has the talent, he has the charisma. I mean, he is good on the mic. Sometimes we do banter him for it, but he definitely has that particular package that you envision a heel performer to be.
And like that arrogant kind of pretty boy heel kind of way.
I mean, Randy Orton, evolution, Randy Orton to the T.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like Randy Orton, like 2007, and then where he was in 2 years.
Yeah,
2009 to 2011, Randy Orton is the baddest man to ever walk through WWE, as
Oh
far as
yeah,
I'm concerned.
he was in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Couldn't touch him.
Yeah, no, you really couldn't. You really couldn't. But I really feel like they've got something. I really feel like they've got some gold working with working with that storyline.
Oh yeah,
Just get it right.
I think they will. I mean, who the who? Well, it was once again. Here comes this word, foreshadowing. You know, Paul Heyman did have that conversation with him back in the day when he was with Roman, and he talked to Braun. So,
Yep.
but I
Yep.
really think,
We're just planting seeds here.
yeah, I really think it's Carmelo Hayes though, because I mean, Paul Heyman talked to
By that.
Braun, and then John had back Carmelo, and them two are the biggest. Them two were the biggest faces on NXT. They was brought up to the main roster, and they have that pinnacle to be the forefront of the future. That next big rivalry, that next big box office ticket that
Yeah.
we envision in rivalries. So
Yeah, because right now, the two guys that we're talking about with this, Carmelo Hayes and Austin Theory, they're kind of floundering right now. I mean, Austin Theory has been stuck in that molasses tag team with Grayson Waller.
oh
They need
yes, yes.
they need to blow that tag team to the sun. Um, I mean, when was the last time they actually had a match together? But they need to blow that up. Carmelo Hayes, I feel like could be a main event level heel. He's got that kind of cocky, kind of a-hole kind of thing going about him.
He didn't need
Um,
a team with the
but
Miz
he
at
can back
all.
it off.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
can.
God forgive me for saying this. It's not awesome. It's not awesome. It really isn't.
Yeah, yeah.
They
It's
need to blow that up. They need to blow
yeah.
that. But
I think they are though, because I mean, you just don't have Miz come out and get his teeth kicked in by Aleister Black and think that them two are still gonna be a tag team. I just don't. But I hate the fact what they're doing. I hate that. I can't believe I'm saying this because maybe 2 years ago I didn't care, but I hate the fact that Austin Theory, because he has the talent, he has the look, he has everything going for him, and it's just not being like used well. It's not. And
yeah,
I hate if they even doing that to Carmelo Hayes. Like Carmelo Hayes has the look, he has the him, is it, everything about him. And they gave him the Andre the Giant. I got high hopes because anybody that you can think of that won that Andre the Giant statue has went on and became, something. Jay won it. He became world
I
champion.
know. Yeah,
Cesaro won it. I mean, he was big for a while. They just didn't use him right. But I
right.
mean, the old man was still around, so that's one of the reasons why. Who else won the thing? I don't know. I can't remember. Braun Strowman. He won the title. Yeah. So like, it got a good thing to it. It's just we got to keep it going with that. So Carmelo wins it. All right, let's do something with him. Let's
Yeah.
strap a miniature rocket on him. I don't care, but as long as he gets to
Yeah.
going up, that's fine.
I mean, you don't have to strap a Falcon Heavy to him. Just maybe like
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the little, like like sounder rockets that you put on a missile or something.
Put them two rockets on his ankle, and Blank Man, and get him.
Yep. I was thinking more like Wile E. Coyote in his battle with
Yeah,
the
Wile E. Coyote. Yes,
yeah.
perfect, perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, we gotta talk about that badass segment between John Cena. Two incredible segments between John Cena and Randy Orton. Now, my favorite of the two, because they had a segment on Raw the Raw after WrestleMania, and they had one on SmackDown this past week. The RKO that Randy Orton gave John Cena after John Cena dropped a nasty word, by the way, was one of the coldest things I've seen from Randy Orton in 15 years. That was, that was that was gold. I mean, they're going to work for the title at Backlash in Randy Orton's hometown. Obviously, Randy Orton's probably not going to win, but you never can tell. That whole segment kind of made me feel like I was back in 2005, which is not always a good thing, but it just made me feel, very kind of nostalgic was the word that you used.
Yes, yes. It's funny because I have two things popped in my head when we was talking about Randy Orton and then John Cena. One is to credit my ex-wife on this. She told me that like one time we was watching, I forgot what happened, but Randy, the way his movement, the way he moves in the ring is very smooth. It's very like calculated, like a snake. You know how like a snake just slithers into places and out of places so
Mm-hmm.
smoothly. The way he rolled out of the ring, he stood up and it slithered into the ring and they set John Cena up with an RKO. It was perfect. It was very Randy Orton-esque. And I mean, I would have said Monday Night was my favorite until I watched SmackDown and John Cena ripped a new one into a 6-year-old. So that was pretty that was pretty terrible.
Welcome to Bizarro World on that. Yeah.
And then on top of that, Randy Orton was like, I don't know what kind of bizarre world we're in where I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy. But
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he just broke the fourth wall with that. Like, hey, yo, what are we going? What is going on right now? Randy Orton would have never talked like that. But
No.
I love like we're getting. I seen this post on Instagram. We were talking about like Randy and John, and we're definitely getting like a Goku Vegeta match again. If anybody's familiar with Dragon Ball Z, but we're definitely getting that feel again, and I love it. Like this is the Cody versus John, and it wasn't built up well, like everybody in our group was talking about. And
Yep.
but this feels right. It got a lot of history behind it. It got a lot of enriched like storyline in it. So like all you gotta do is throw them two in there and they can talk about, what they had for breakfast this morning and it becomes a hit. Like these
Mhm.
two are the definition of a rivalry. This is one of the rivalries that carried the whole PG era, right? Like just that
Absolutely.
whole without them two, I don't know what would have happened with the whole that era. So I'm excited for them to every single week till we get a backlash. And then what's crazy, we were saying we don't know if Randy gonna win or not, which I believe he's not. I hope he does because he's at home and 15 would be great for Randy. If they do give it to Randy, hear me out. So if we're gonna continue John being like the heel, like the a-hole, right? How would you feel if John does lose it, right? And he said he gonna ruin wrestling. Okay. He's only won Money in the Bank one time. What if he goes into Money in the Bank, he wins that Money in the Bank, and then he steals the title back again, and then he becomes number 18. And then he shakes his hand. He shakes his own hand. Because remember, he said he wants to be the guy that shakes number 18. And then he literally grabs his own hand and does this at the press conference.
If they really want to play with John Cena, the heel, I like it.
You know, it just
Like if they really want to make him diabolical, yeah,
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
like
yeah.
if we going to get the love letter from John Cena of we want him to be a heel, and he's going to go through, the entire year as a heel and just as the numero uno of undisputed champions. He has to pull that off. That'd be dope.
That would be hilarious. That would be
But are we
absolutely.
really going to get him retiring with that belt and they start a new belt and we start a new lineage? Like, are we really going to do that?
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I doubt
I
it. I
mean,
can't. I can't. I
I
can't. I
mean,
can see
because that
them pushing it to the end and kind of like. I mean, Cody already broke Roman's streak, so I mean, I can see Cody, winning the belt again and saving the WWE or something like that.
yeah,
Or to quote
just
Kurt Angle,
just put
because
the
Kurt
Superman
Angle,
cape on him.
yeah, Kurt Angle saved the WWE from WCW that one time. So
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah. But you know what's funny about this whole thing? Speaking of that promo on SmackDown, um, John Cena granted more Make-A-Wish wishes than anybody in the history of that program. But you
yeah,
got John Cena, F them kids, and then Randy Orton was like, "You need to have a kid,
half
John."
keys, yeah. he,
It's like
he's
that.
like,
It's like that one episode of Star Trek where everything is in Bizarro World, man.
I mean, as I look at old tapes, I'm like, this is really and it's funny because I think I said this to y'all in the group, and it's like, when Randy was like, "How dare you say that to me after all we've been through?" And they literally go back in time, and it's like, this is Randy, what they went through, and he's literally like pressing buttons to start the promo. I mean, the pyro to set John on fire. Like, really, Randy, you don't forget that? You forgot that? Or when you punt John Cena's dead head in, or you literally
Oh boy.
slap a ref in the face when the match just started, and you slap the ref and get DQ'd.
Yeah. I mean, this it feels so weird, but it feels right in a
It
way.
feels right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like it just feels so weird, but it feels right.
The excitement. I know this how you felt too. Like Monday night, and he was in there talking in the ring, and I thought for a second, I didn't even think about backlash, but I thought they was gonna just run it back with Cody or whatever. But when Randy was spotted in that ring, I was like, oh, here we go. We're getting it.
Oh, that was and the way that the crowd hit when it was obvious that it was him. That that felt like a like a mid 2000s kind
Yeah.
of scream. That was gold.
Like, oh God, here we are. This is really Raw after WrestleMania.
It's like I mean, but this is like Raw after WrestleMania, like 22 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. 22.
Instead
Yeah.
of
2003.
after WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, oh man, that was so fun. That was so fun.
I am so excited.
Yes, I am too. And it's coming up here in just in a couple of weeks, I think.
Couple of weeks. I can't
Yeah,
right around the corner. It's
yeah,
crazy.
indeed, indeed. I think the last thing I want to hit on this week is speaking of the Raw after WrestleMania. Um, such a weird segment that worked, I think, in a really powerful way. We come out of a commercial break, and Gunther is in Michael Cole's face, just like bullying him. And Michael Cole eventually said, "Well, I'm not the one who tapped out."
Why did you say that, Michael Cole?
And then, of course, Gunther snapped, went after Cole. And then Pat McAfee, love him or hate him, came to Cole's defense. And Gunther laid that choke in. Like, that was like legit laid it in. Because his face, we're both kind of wearing similar colors right now. Kind of
Yeah,
a, kind of a crimson shirt. You're kind of wearing like a kind of a
like,
crimson shirt as well.
yeah.
His face looked like our shirts right now.
He was about to pass out. He was about to really just like go to sleep.
He passed out. He lost consciousness on that.
Oh, oh wow.
Or at least
Yeah.
or at least it's so he says. I mean, Pat McAfee can be full of crap, but um and I don't know how much of that was kayfabe, but we're not going to get into the Rock's interview that he had with McAfee.
Oof.
But
I'm glad you
that
said that
was
because I'm
just
about to get into it.
um we can get into it here in a second, but um that segment really kind of reminded me a lot of some of the like when Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler got involved with storylines, because Jim Ross, everybody knows that he and Stone Cold Steve Austin are legit, you know, friends for 50 years or whatever. Um, and everybody knows that Pat McAfee and Michael Cole have a great relationship, or like really close friends.
Oh yeah.
Um, that whole segment, I feel like they could have cut a little time off of it, because I feel like that segment kind of, I don't want to say that it dragged on, but the segment could have been better if they maybe didn't like linger on, you know, McAfee coughing up, whatever he was coughing up.
Yeah, walking to the back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, um, I did think it was funny that they sent Tessitore out there and he wasn't even wearing he wasn't even dressed. He was just,
He was off for the
had his
night.
shirt untucked, wasn't wearing a tie or anything.
Yeah,
But
he was off for the night.
yeah, no, he was off for the night. He might have, he might have been drinking. Who knows? But I just thought that was kind of I just thought that whole segment was money. Now, I hope, and as a wrestling commentator, I like Pat McAfee. As a college football commentator, I like Pat McAfee. But um, I don't know if I want to have a beer with the guy. But my point is that I don't know if I want to see him in the ring with Gunther, because
Yeah.
if they have McAfee go over Gunther, talk about killing somebody's heat. I mean, McAfee's done a few matches. Let's not get it wrong. But
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Gunther,
yeah.
Gunther, this is the ring general here.
Yes. Yes. Uh, I do like the fact that it was definitely a curveball thrown because I thought Gunther probably was going to come out either maybe show respect to Jay for beating him, choking him out, whatever. And we go from that to I don't know, he choked out somebody as a wrestler, somebody like, I told you Jay was gonna
Right.
beat you, or I can't believe you maybe lose this much money or whatever, because I bet it on you or whatever. But to go back and Gunther has a beef with Michael Cole, and after we've seen Gunther literally look
Has a beef with Michael Cole for speaking the truth that he tapped out.
that he tapped out. And we knew this from the start. I mean, like even when Gunther was champion and like Pat was just getting on the table every time Jay would like come out and he do the so there was heat already there. It just wasn't
Yes, there was.
messed
Yeah.
with. Yeah, it wasn't just messed with. They kind of swayed away from it for a little while. So now to come back to that, and then not only do you come back to that, but he finally puts his hand on Michael Cole to where Pat has to intervene, is definitely giving me attitude error JR and Jerry King Lawler, where Jerry King Lawler would get himself involved in stuff that JR gets involved with.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. And then, like you said, I love it, but do I really want Pat in the ring with Gunther? No, I don't. Because, all right, it's a slippery slope. How do you keep Gunther staying strong, but yet kind of, in a sense, a little bit vulnerable? Okay, because I get it. Like he choked out the J, so that's a little bit of vulnerability right there with that. But am I really gonna let him lose to Pat, a person that is not a wrestler? And every blue moon he does wrestle. I can't really do that to Gunther because I mean he's the ring general. He's literally been a champion for 86% of the time he's been in WWE.
Yeah.
So I can't have him go in and lose as much heat as he already has had. Or maybe maybe they going that route to get him back on heat because everybody now is like, oh, you showed that you basically tapped out the Jays. Like that heat is kind of like different a little bit. But
Interesting.
what would help is just to attack somebody that is, you know, weak in a sense. And then
Yeah.
I can see him going in that route again where how he did Jimmy to Jay. Like, arms suspended. Okay, well, I'm gonna sneak up, either choke Pat out again or choke Michael Cole. But it's going to lead to something with that programming to where it will probably help go through in a sense. I hope.
I would like to see Gunther. This is kind of how I'd like to see this resolved. Um, I don't want Pat in the ring. Let's not get this twisted. But I do think that he's going to have a promo segment tomorrow on Monday. Pat
Okay.
is. Um, I can see this going in one of two directions. Um, they do a match, or McAfee is like, we got to get our lick back. We got to get our lick back somehow. I've got an opponent that, whatever. And I think this could work storyline wise because of Pat's connection with football. Be like a mystery opponent going into the pay-per-view. Whenever they blow this off.
Right.
Gunther comes out to the ring, cuts a promo. Pat gets up from the announce table, starts, talking trash on Gunther. Gunther lunges at him. Pierce comes out, does his Adam Pierce thing. And then the lights drop and we hear Bill Goldberg's music.
I didn't think about that. Mm, yeah.
Because
And then I mean, when is Crown Jewel or whatever one of those matches? Um, PLEs
good
are they
question.
later? Are they later in the year or
Good
something like
question.
that? But I can
I
see
know
I can
they've
see
got
that.
one in the fall. I know they've got one in the fall.
Yeah, I think Crown Jewel is normally in the fall, but what is the other one? It's Crown Jewel and ooh, I can't even remember the other one. But I mean, to be honest, I wish I get it. They're trying to do it for money,
Yeah, I mean,
but no disrespect to them because
yeah.
they are
Um,
loyal wrestler fans. So
and there's also a fortune of money in
fortune,
this
the
as well,
money
which is why
involved in it. Yeah, Undertaker just shows up and shows his face. He don't even got to get into a ring attire no more. He just shows up and get paid. in the
Pretty much.
bookus.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
I do see where your head is at with that. That is a great idea.
Yeah, because Bill Goldberg, and we don't go by his professional name here because we're both Bret Hart's marks back here, but Bill Goldberg is looking for one more match.
One more. Yeah.
And, is he a credible opponent? No. Bill Goldberg's over the hill. He's like 55 years old. Um, Gunther's in the prime of his career. Um, not a credible opponent, but I feel like it could be kind of on a similar level. Gunther's gotta go over. He's gotta go over. But I feel like and Goldberg's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And it's on the same level as that Brock Lesnar Goldberg when Brock Lesnar finally beat Goldberg. It's like it didn't necessarily hurt Goldberg, excuse me, Bill Goldberg,
Thank you.
but it didn't hurt nor help Brock Lesnar either because we knew Brock Lesnar was a killer. We knew Brock Lesnar. I mean, he literally broke Undertaker's streak. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's really nothing more you could help Brock Lesnar with. Any opponent could help Brock Lesnar be even more, that great. So in a sense, if Bill Goldberg does come back and you have that match, and obviously it's not going to be a very long match, but
No.
if Gunther could probably, because he ate everything Jay threw at him and lost to a chokehold. So what if we get, I don't know, three spears, jackhammer? Hopefully a jackhammer. God forbid that Bill picks this man up and lands him on his head, and it ends terribly for Gunther. But I can see eats every offense that Bill Goldberg throws at him, and then he chokes Bill Goldberg out, and then beats get Bill Goldberg to a bloody pulp, and like not only do you rebuild that killer in Gunther, but you really build him because he beat an old man to death. Like this man has no remorse for anybody.
Left him a bloody mess in the middle of the ring.
Left him a bloody mess, and then that's like unfortunately, but I mean we as the older generation, we always got that image of Bill Goldberg in another way, but not only do you ruin that image for the younger generation, but that is the lasting memory you have of Bill Goldberg as in WWE if Gunther does that to him. So that only makes Gunther more, well, actually revamp him more as that killer instead of the ring. Matter of fact, okay, here's the buildup, right? Like you said, you get the promo or whatever. Week after week, we get this, feud between the commentators and Gunther, right? Now, here you go. Here's the cherry on top. So you remember when Triple H was going through that process of trying to be that guy, right? And he was um when he finally became the game, the cerebral assassin, right? And he
Okay.
broke that infamous interview with JR. And he was like, everybody
Yes.
tries to play the game, and I am the game, right?
I am the blanking game. Yes.
Yes. What if we get that in a form of Gunther, but we get like he's always been ring general, right? But you can't be the ring general now because you got choked out by Jay. So now we got to repackage you, and we got to come up with another name for you. Like yes, you're still the ring general in a sense, but like now we need another nickname for you, or we need a new name for you, and we go back to Walter.
Come on. Come on. Brother, you read my mind on that one. Because, I mean, look, his mama literally called him Walter. But my point is that I can't like I'm feeling where you're coming from on that
Right.
because Gunther could be could be like a Batista level killer in WWE, like a Brock Lesnar kind of level here.
Even a
Um,
Triple H type killer. He
exactly,
always, whenever he get that sledgehammer, it's a problem.
exactly, exactly. And you maybe do need to kind of repackage him a little bit because you're absolutely right. When Triple H was, kind of around that time that he had that now iconic interview with JR, he was just kind of coming off of the DX wave.
Yeah.
Kind of the goofy, kind of the sexual double entendre kind of thing.
The sidekick to Shawn Michaels.
The sidekick to HBK, yes. Um, but then once they kind of hung their hat on that when he started calling himself the Game, that was when Triple H became one of the baddest heels in that era. The baddest heel in that era.
He literally took his best friend out for a year,
Yeah.
quote unquote, kayfabe. But
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe onto something there. Maybe onto something there because this doesn't, it's like one of my favorite words. It's layers. This is definitely got to go deeper than just Gunther
picking a
choking
fight,
out
picking
Gunther
a fight with him
choking
too.
out a commentator, an
Yeah.
ex NFL punter.
Yes.
Um,
But speaking of
I
Bizarro World, since we're staying on that level,
sure,
fast forward, no, rewind back to before that incident, I believe, and we get Jay coming out as the champ. Everybody's celebrating. We're feeling good about ourselves. A familiar face pops up in Sami Zayn, and everything is going well. And for I don't know if you felt this or not, but for a split second, the way he was looking at Jay when Jay had his back turned, I was like, "Oh no, we're not doing this, are we? Are we finna go this route? Like, are we finna get Sammy turning on?" Now, with that being said, and I know everybody in the wrestling community felt this way, when you think back, right? Who has been in his ear? You know, you always being there for everybody else. You putting everybody else before yourself. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and all this other stuff. But yet, when are you going to focus on yourself? And that person in his ear has been Karrion Cross. And anybody that has came into contact with Karrion Cross has danced with the devil and has turned, has really just snapped. Like ever since he was messing with Xavier Woods and he was in Kofi's ear. And then he went
mhm,
on and left them and went to the Miz. I mean, Miz turned on R-Truth. And then I mean, it's like it's a long list of people he's talked to from what, maybe the past year or so, and they have all went heel. So, and we got a big void with Kevin Owens out for
yeah.
possibly 2 years. So
And what better man to get to fill that void than the best man in his wedding?
best
Sami
man is
Zayn.
winning. This man literally won the IC title what, twice as a heel. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, Sammy, he can play both sides. Sammy is a good babyface. We love him as a babyface, but he can play that much better as a heel. So
He really can. He really can. I feel like there's that angle with Karrion Cross shouldn't be overlooked because I've often felt that since Karrion Cross got brought up to the main roster, I've kind of felt like he has been misused because when he was in NXT, he was just like he was like he'd look at you sideways and you were dead, you know? Um, he had that kind of menacing look with the shaved head. And now I kind of like, now that he's grown his hair out, I kind of felt like he looked like a jacked CM Punk. But kind of the angle that they're kind of bringing him towards right now, I'm getting almost like cult leader vibes from it because he's got a lot of he's got a lot of irons and a lot of fires. Like he's trying to bring AJ Styles to the dark side. He might have brought Sami Zayn to the dark side. I mean, he's got a lot of irons and a lot of fires, and I kind of feel like they're in I feel like he cut that. We thought it was a shoot promo on that like talk show or whatever it was. I'm
It
starting to
was a
think he might have
recap.
been. I'm starting to think he might have been working us on that because
Yeah.
there's something brewing with him on that.
Oh yeah. It was the Raw. I think it was the Raw recap or the WrestleMania recap or
Yeah,
some recap,
yeah.
man.
It was something WWE related, I
Yeah.
think, but yeah,
But
like a podcast or something. You know.
yeah, it was a great promo. And my gripe, besides, that promo he cut, which, he's griping about how he's being used and whatever. Um, I need him to, you and I both agree that, like, I mean, hey, brother, you keep that hair if you want, that's fine. All right. You're doing well with it, it's cool. Us personally, we like you better with the short hair, like bald head, because you look like a sinister killer. But you still are a killer no matter what. But my thing is, where is the clock? Where has the clock gone? Because that clock definitely symbolizes something. And I love the way he used that clock, like TikTok, right? And if you don't remember, like, yes, Cody predicted what Roman was going to be going through 2 years ago. But if you go back even further, right? Karrion Cross showed up and he was looking at Roman in peak bloodline era, right? Same as Zayn. Everybody
Hmm.
was in the ring with him. And he put that clock down. Well, excuse me, his wife put the clock down. She flipped it up and it started the time. And actually, it wasn't Cody that predicted the bloodline downfall. It was really Karrion Cross. Because when you
That's why
think
I'm
about
kind
it,
of getting the cult leader energy from that. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He never seen Roman since then. They never had any interactions with each other since then. And like, I mean, after Karrion has an interaction with you, everything happens. Like either they turn heel or something happens with a downfall. Like, I mean, they I don't know if they really like caught on to that and was really working it since then, or it just so happened to happen with faith. But I think they really got something going with Karrion Cross, and I love it.
I do too. I do too. I've been wanting them to do something with him
Yeah,
for years, honestly, because I kind of feel like he's been floundering a little bit, but with this kind of almost like the way that you described it, it's almost like he's the Grim Reaper in a way.
man, it feels like the Undertaker. Whenever you hear that dong,
Oh yeah,
stuff about to go left. So
yeah. With the with that clock is like, okay, your time is up and you're gonna die at this time of night. So I mean, it's you could be onto something with that.
yeah,
You
and
could be onto something with that.
speaking of eerie cult leaders or whatever, um, I just want to give a shout out to whoever. First of all, Triple H and them signing Aleister Black back. And then
Yes.
on top of that, we get his old music back, his old interest back, everything about him back from NXT. I thought with him that it was going to use him and he was going to be up there with, the Karrion Cross and all this, like being featured more and like being this eerie, like I'm so sad that we lost Bray Wyatt because I still wanted that match where it was Finn, it was Bray Wyatt and Karrion Kross, or it could have been Aleister Black. But could you just imagine the magic that could have happened with those three eerie characters going back and forth with each other?
Rest in peace, Wyndham Rotunda. Man, that could have been gold plated money.
Yes, yes.
Man,
Well, I am
oh,
so glad we got Aleister Black back, and just the way he just came up, like I was like, oh man, we got him back, 100%
and the
back.
way that he kicked Miz's head off of his shoulders. Oof.
Mm. Night, night, and then I didn't get look. Biz had all white on. Aleister Black was, obviously dark, eerie, whatever.
Mhm.
So it's just like, I see what y'all doing there.
And he kicks Miz's head off, and then he just sits cross-legged in the middle of the ring, just like, how you doing?
And I mean, obviously nobody talks about this. Nobody tries to mention this up because of all the things personally that went on with this guy. But I hate the fact that we missed the opportunity to see what Velveteen Dream could have did in the main roster because that rivalry between him and Aleister Black, I, it was peak. It was very peak golden, black and gold NXT for sure.
Well, the Velveteen Dream dug his own grave, but I
He
get what you're
did.
saying.
He did.
Yeah.
And I just like, because I was, I, I, me personally, I like the eerie, like weird characters. Like obviously, Velveteen Dream, he kind of give you
I mean, we were
Prince
talking
vibe.
about Goldust before
Yeah,
the
I mean, we were
show.
talking about Goldust before we started the show, but it's something about like like you said with layers about that character. It's layers with these characters. Like you don't just get the regular Bill Goldberg come out with tights on and like, oh man, he's a badass. Like, nah, this dude is. He seems. That's why I love R-Truth so much. Like, if they could have ever got away from the comedic part of R-Truth and kind of made him a badass with it, it'd be so much more with R-Truth. But he plays a comedic character so darn well to the point where it's like you can't see him being anything else differently, and that's okay, and I love it. But
Yeah, no, no,
I think
totally.
R-Truth deserves more respect in that aspect.
Yeah, it's like that. If you remember that one match that R-Truth had with John Cena, where R-Truth was like this supposedly sinister heel, and he's like standing over John Cena, got a cigarette in his mouth, and he's blowing cigarette smoke in his face, and that just landed to me like a wet fart.
Yeah. Oh, Lil
Granted,
Jimmy.
it was all, yeah, yeah,
What you say,
and
Lil
his
Jimmy? What?
and his conspiracy, yeah.
But oh,
Conspiracy. Yeah.
like, and then like, oh my God, what if? Okay, so we predict Randy gonna lose at Backlash, right? So what if, like you said it, R-Truth helps John Cena, but in his mind, he's doing something good for John. Like, I've always been a fan. I grew up watching you, and like you're my hero. You always forever be my hero.
With the
And
punchline
then
being that R-Truth is actually older than John Cena, but yeah.
yeah, with the punchline, he's actually older than him, and we get. I guess that's how you get Randy to sway away from John because he got screwed out of the title by R-Truth. So
Uh-huh.
now they got beef going on. And I mean, I hate it, but I love it at the same time because it's just like R-Truth plays so like obviously R-Truth outside of the ring is not a dumb individual, but he
No,
plays a dumb guy so darn well that the point of you help John Cena win the match, and we won't be mad at you. Like we'll sit there and not be mad at you. Like, oh, R-Truth, why did you do that? But it's like, oh, that's right, because you just You didn't know what you just did.
You're a ditzy fool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But could you imagine just the punt kick he's going to receive from Randy because of that?
I'd love to
It's,
see it happen.
it's gonna be ugly. It's
Yeah.
probably gonna be worse than when he kicked John Cena's dad head in. So
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Well, been a fun episode. You ready to do it again next week?
oh yeah, always.
Yeah, well, we got a lot to talk about here. And we've had a great episode. I know we're outside of WrestleMania season, but as as Greg Allman famously sang, the road goes on forever.
No doubt, no doubt.
Before we go, what's one thing you want to see? Like one storyline that you want to see kind of get started towards as we go towards Backlash. I got mine, but what's yours?
Uh I think I think we're you already know mine. I'm still bloodline to the day it's officially just quack. But I feel like
Which
it's
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
is going to
meat.
be long after both of us are dead, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a lot of meat still left on the bone. As long as Roman Reigns is still Roman Reigns in WWE, we are getting a we getting this ride, this roller coaster we're on with him in this world of CM Punk and Rollins and Paul Heyman and I mean like no matter what The Rock said in Pat McAfee's interview or whatever, uh I really wish he was never involved in the John Cena heel turn. We could have kept him in the back burner till whenever he's free and available to really like be there and show up and actually be there when needed. Um, I really want to see Roman versus Rock. Like now I'm still calling it till it's not,
Of course.
but I am interested to see what storyline we're going, what rabbit hole we're going down with the whole new alliance of Braun Breaker and Rollins versus CM Punk and Roman. So
Yeah. Yeah.
can Roman finally trust somebody
That's
good enough? And what does CM Punk do now?
yeah.
Since
I mean, he's as volatile as he's ever been. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Well, mine, as we head towards the summer period here, I'm very curious to see how they book Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Champion, because if they book him as kind of if they book him strong, then I see he can take that title to, I don't think he carries it for till next WrestleMania, but I could definitely see him taking it to, you know, like a Money in the Bank or, maybe even Survivor Series in the fall. But if they book him weak, if they book him as kind of kind of a fluke champion, maybe he loses the Backlash to whoever he's going to be going up against. And the scuttlebutt is that he's going to be working with our dear friend Mr. Paul at Backlash. So I hope that's not the case that he loses to that man.
right, right. That was gonna be my other storyline I would like to see, but I definitely want to see where they go with the whole Roman and Rollins. And one more nugget. I definitely want to see where we go with the aftermath of Bianca Rhea and Io Sky. Like, do Bianca finally become a heel because of the latest booze she been receiving from fans? Or do we get Bianca going back and being involved in the Jade versus Naomi? Obviously, that's not over with.
Yeah, not even
Or
close.
do we get Bianca going after Tiffany since she can't get it with EO Sky. So I mean, Tiffany's available. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, don't forget Bianca's on the shelf for a little bit with her broken hand. So,
I didn't know she broke her hand.
yeah, yeah. No, she broke her hand in that match. I don't think it's a bad break, but she's going to be on the shelf for a little bit.
Maybe a fraction.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
she need to break anyway. I mean, she's been showing up and showing out for quite a
she
while. So,
does. She does. But yeah, no, we got a lot to look forward to, and I look forward to running this back next week.
oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us as always. And thank you for watching and listening to the Wrasslin Roundtable podcast, a presentation of Royal Hearts Media. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, soon to be coming to a Facebook page near you. Um, yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until we meet again, for Dom, I'm Ryan. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And go hit that 3 count. All right. Take care, y'all.